Thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, as one storm system departs, we've got a relatively quiet picture here on the U.S. hazards map from the National Weather Service. We've got a dense fog advisory across portions of central Nebraska and also across portions of northwestern North Dakota. But we do have some changes to talk about. Eric covered those in depth, and I'm going to kind of expand on those in the short term, what those mean for us. But if you haven't seen yesterday's ag forecast video, go ahead and watch that so you can get up to date. Now, as we take a look at the satellite picture again, the first storm system beginning to depart, becoming a problem for the northeast today. High pressure on the backside going to lead to a relatively quiet day today for many of us, though we do have some precipitation to talk to across portions of the central plains. And here is our departing storm system right now. Some light rain showers making their way across portions of Indiana and Ohio, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee as well. Those will continue to move east out of the picture as we head through the day today. Now, we do have an upper-level disturbance right here across the central plains, and that, again, is what we're going to talk about here. It's going to lead to some isolated thunderstorms across the high plains and then some precipitation across parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley as we head into the overnight. A quick look at the temperatures. Here's the frontal boundary right now, extending back from that first area of low pressure now across the eastern Great Lakes, moving into the northeast. Cooler air coming in on the backside, so a bit chillier across this region than we were 24 hours ago, with that warm air still kind of feeding in across parts of the eastern Corn Belt and the Mid-South. Now, this boundary is going to kind of stall across this region and then lift back north, and that's what's going to keep thunderstorms in the forecast, especially across this region over the next 72 hours. As I just show you the next 15 days, the precipitation anomaly, our departure from normal, and then on the right side, we've got the 10-day probability of 3 inches or more of snowfall. This kind of encapsulates the entire pattern here over the next 2 weeks. Again, Eric covered the jet stream evolution here in depth over the next couple of weeks. We've got the northern branch coming in something like this. We've got the very active subtropical branch coming in across the south, and that's leading to kind of repeated rounds of heavy rain and thunderstorms across this region, but then with enough cold air present on the backside of some of these systems, the chance for some accumulating snow across the Dakotas and parts of the central high plains, even perhaps into the upper mid-Mississippi Valley, across parts of Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana, the chance for some light snow here over the next week or two. So here's the jet stream pattern, the 500 millibar height anomalies, and the driving factor here is this ridge in the Gulf of Alaska. And again, I showed you on the precipitation anomaly map, again, the split flow coming in around the top of that ridge in the Gulf of Alaska, and then the very strong subtropical jet coming in across the southwest with cutoff lows setting up here off the coast of California. And again, where these two streams meet, and we see the very strong jet stream winds across the central portion of the country, high pressure across the southeast. It's going to lead return flow from the Gulf of Mexico, continuing to pump moisture northward from the Gulf Coast into the Ohio River Valley. And again, setting the stage for repeated storm systems across this region, bringing those chances for repeated rounds of rain and thunderstorms and heavy precipitation across the Ohio River Valley, an area that doesn't need it. Speaking of areas that don't need particular weather types, again, we're going to start to fill in some of the recent melting we've done across the Dakotas and the high plains, bringing in chances for snow across this region over the next week or so. As I just hit play on this loop, looking at the next 10 days, you'll see this pattern continuing to reinforce itself. That ridge of high pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, cutoff lows setting up here off the coast of California, and then again, in between that, very strong jet stream winds racing across the central part of the country, the response at the surface, the resurgence of moisture across the Ohio River Valley, keeping this area very active and very wet, and then cold air and little cutoff systems, little clippers making their way through the northern plains, bringing the chances for snow to that region. So we take a look at the 10-day temperature trend. Again, you're going to see the cooling trend across this region, which again is going to lead to the potential for, again, sub-freezing temperatures, and with the precipitation making its way in there, the chance for a couple shots of accumulating snow. So let's dive into some of the specifics. We're looking at the severe weather outlooks for the next 3 days. We've got Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. So as we head through the afternoon and into the overnight, we'll be watching for isolated strong storms across parts of Kansas. The risk tomorrow, generally south of the Corn Belt, and then as we head into the day on Thursday, parts of the Ohio River Valley, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, seeing the chance for some isolated strong storms as we head through the afternoon and the evening. As we talk specifically about the risk tonight, or this evening into tonight, across Kansas, parts of Oklahoma, we're looking at a surface boundary that's kind of, again, stalled across the region. We're looking at dew points on the left, and then our deep layer shear is on the left, and then our dew points are on the right. And you can see this little boundary. I'm going to kind of draw in here where the dew points are surging northward, 50s and 60s, And then you see a little bit of a boundary here where dew points transition into the mid-40s. And it's actually along and north of this boundary. We'll see moisture running up and over the top of that, and then coupled with the very strong deep layer shear here, 50 to 70 knots of shear, plenty enough to support strong storms over the top of that boundary. Again, this is where we expect to see those strong storms begin to fire up as we head into the late afternoon and into the overnight hours. And again, we'll look at that with the high-resolution rapid refresh model that will take us through the day today. Relatively quiet. This is 6 p.m. this evening. Maybe a couple scattered showers and storms from parts of Nebraska and Kansas, but we'll watch this area begin to flare up as we head into the overnight. There will be a separate area that flares up right here. Right now, the HRRR has this happening after midnight, right between midnight and 3 a.m., The initial risk with these storms would be maybe some large hail, but perhaps transitioning to a couple damaging wind gusts here as we go into the early morning hours on Wednesday across northwestern portions of Oklahoma, getting into southern Missouri, and then eventually northern Arkansas. So this is the primary severe risk over the next 24 hours. It's tonight into tomorrow morning, that chance for some light, large hail, or maybe some isolated damaging wind gusts. Now we'll take a little bit further look out here with the high-resolution NAM model. We'll go quickly through the day today, again watching this region for those isolated strong storms to flare up here late tonight into the early morning hours. There they are, right between midnight and 3 a.m. across central and southern Kansas, moving into Oklahoma and Missouri as we hit sunrise on Wednesday morning, and then continuing to move southeast through the day into the south. So here we are on Wednesday evening, a relatively quiet picture across the Corn Belt, high pressure kind of moving in, but we've got another disturbance moving in on Thursday that we'll have to watch, and it's a combination of a couple pieces. We've got another wave moving in from the southwest. We've also got a big upper level low across the Canadian Prairie with a cold front extending back behind that. So we've got precipitation flaring up in a couple areas. First, across the upper Midwest into parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, in conjunction with that kind of messy frontal boundary Thursday morning. But then as we head into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, we'll watch this region for that chance for, again, a couple isolated strong storms. Large hail, damaging winds going to be possible across this region Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening. We'll take an even further look with the European model, kind of taking it into next week, and what you'll see is just the pattern continuing to reload with the same look. So as we head through the afternoon here today, watching for the strong storms to flare up tonight into tomorrow morning across this region. We'll have a relatively quiet Wednesday. Next area of low pressure begins to emerge, again with another area of low pressure off to the north across the prairie on Thursday. So precipitation across the upper Great Lakes or the upper Midwest as we head through the morning hours on Thursday. And then the risk for thunderstorms, maybe a couple strong storms across the Ohio River Valley into the Mid-South Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening. As we start heading into Friday morning now, this area of low pressure well off to the north and to the east, but the cold front still extending well off to the west across parts of Oklahoma and Texas, and it's going to stay there until the next area of low pressure emerges from the southwest and rides along it, taking the same trajectory as we head into the weekend. So this is, let's take the drawings off Friday afternoon now. A relatively quiet picture across the Corn Belt, although we have an active picture across the continental U.S. Again, we've got the low pressure off to the northeast, a shot of cooler air coming in on the backside. The frontal boundary still stalled in this region. Friday afternoon, Friday evening, getting into Friday night now. Let's take it into Saturday morning, into Saturday afternoon. We're watching our next wave now making its way from the southern plains into the Ohio River Valley. And we'll have to watch this closely as we get into, we're talking 5 days out into the future, not terribly far, but with so many moving parts, we don't yet have a super clear idea on the exact track of this area of low pressure, but enough cold air coming in on the north side here with this area of high pressure on the back side of the last storm system that perhaps, as we head through the day Saturday, maybe even a few snowflakes mixing in with some of the precipitation here across parts of Iowa, northern Missouri, getting into Illinois and Indiana and Ohio. At this point, not ready to call it accumulating snow, but it's something we have to watch closely, and you'll want to surely be tuning in with the forecast here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as we watch that. But even if I just take this into next week, we're into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, you're seeing the same pattern here. Shots of cold air coming in from the north, chances for light accumulating snow across this region, and then storm systems tracking in from the southwest on the southern branch of the jet stream, bringing that chance for not only repeated rounds of rain and thunderstorms and heavy precipitation, but maybe the opportunities for severe weather across this region every several days as well as we head into the March 15th through the 20th time frame. So just kind of recapping, we're looking at the next 7 days precipitation from the European ensemble on the left, and then the precipitation or the probability of greater than 3 inches of snow accumulating. And again, you see we will likely fill in this little open area with some accumulating snow over the next week or so, and then deliver several more shots of heavy rain and maybe isolated thunderstorms and isolated strong storms across this region over the next 7 to 10 days. We'll finish with a look at the high temperatures then over the next 5 days as we top out this afternoon in the upper 20s to the lower 30s across the upper Midwest and the Dakotas, with 70s present across the high plains into the mid-south. We'll see warmth continuing to push northward as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Here's Friday, a shot of cool air coming in on the back side of that Thursday storm system, but then we start to bring warmth back to the north as we head into Friday, with warmth expanding as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Your overnight lows tomorrow morning waking up in the 20s to the north, to the 40s and 50s in the south. Your Friday morning lows, Saturday and Sunday morning. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning with our long-range weather analysis, Thursday morning with our ag forecast video. We'll be back to talk about the Corn Belt on Friday.